Hey there, so I get asked all the time, like a lot of different questions, whether it be in comments or through like Facebook or Instagram, or people that just find my email. So tonight I'm going to answer a few of those and talk a little bit more about the channel. And I made the video before, and it was actually not that bad, but I figure we can spice it up a bit by actually going down to the movie room. One thing I wanted to do before I went down though is I'll show you my new that's my new Super 8mm camera that my dad got me, and it's really, you can see it there. I got like you can see my Bell and Howell, my Holiday, and the new one, and the one there by the behind me. That's the new Super 8. So let's go downstairs and let's answer some questions. Hey there. So hope you guys are enjoying your Christmas so far. Now I'm going to be starting a whole new season in the new year. So the video's done for this part is just pretty much going to be like I'll do my Christmas haul, talk about some different stuff. But tonight I want to answer a few questions, talk about my channel, how this whole crazy thing got started, and let you know a little bit more about me. Especially if you're coming in to my channel right now, this is a great video to, in my opinion, hopefully start off with. Now I did make this video earlier on today, but I made it upstairs, and I wanted to kind of make it in my movie room. And throughout this one here, I might be like moving the chair a bit and the camera to different angles, so you'll see a little bit more, rather than just going to like going gonzo and just going around the place. So behind me right now, you'll see like some of my box sets and stuff like that that I have. You see that I'm a huge fan of the Saint and grew up in Three's Company, and but anyway, so basically, if you're here for the first time, hi, thanks for coming. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can know when I'm putting up my next video. They've been more random than I want to recently, and that's basically because the internet is different in the area that I am right now. So my name is Aaron, and a lot of people call me the movie prof. So that was something that kind of it's not a moniker that I made up on my own. So it's not like like Cinema Snob or Nostalgia Critic or anything like that. It's basically I was doing a live stream with some people, and that was the nickname, and it kind of stuck, and I kind of went with it from there. So that's how it went. Now I've been on YouTube for a few years now, but it actually happened. The way for me to get on there is my cat's here. Is that basically I was looking for a movie, and I went online and I looked at all the reviews, and it was a box set, and I wanted to know the way that the box set looked. I was kind of excited. It was something that I was getting that was coming out soon, and I knew that some people had gotten it early, but none of the reviews actually had like unboxings, like had pictures of the box set itself. And I don't even remember what the set is right now. But and I wasn't a YouTube person. I didn't go on YouTube. I wasn't like big into that at the time. And so I went on YouTube as kind of the last-ditched effort to actually find what I wanted. And lo and behold, there was like an unboxing of it. There's actually a few unboxings of the one that I wanted there. So that's how I started watching, and I got kind of addicted with that. I watched like 3 or 4 unboxings, and then I saw people had like collection overviews, and I hadn't seen that before. And there was like so many other things that I found on there, and I kind of realized pretty quickly that YouTube is kind of like this new format that a lot of people were utilizing. And it kind of reminded me of the days when I used to watch a lot of public television, where you'd find like these like just different, unique shows that you wouldn't find anywhere else, and you'd always find something that would hit you. Whether they were like it was PBS, and it was like kind of like getting into Doctor Who shows late on Saturday night, where they'd like put like the three or four episodes together and make into one big like movie-length episode, or you're watching like a video review show, whether it be Cisco and Ebert or Michael Medved or one of those guys. There was always something different and weird, unique documentaries and all that type of stuff. And I started to see that YouTube itself, with all the unique voices, both good and bad sometimes, would actually give that same type of feel that I got from the early days when I was watching a lot of like a public access television, like the good stuff. That you could find all kinds of crazy stuff on there. And you could find stuff that fit your personality and your mood. So it wasn't long after that I got a box set, a movie box set, and I got a game as well. And I did unboxings for both of those, hoping that I could give back to some of the people that had helped me when I was looking for my stuff. Because I did like an unboxing of like I think Batman Arkham Asylum, and I did an unboxing back then of I think the Scream Factory, no, Scream, sorry, the Scream movie set with the mask, the one that was done here in North America. It had like because there was a DVD version and a Blu-ray version, and the Blu-ray version had these extra documentaries and all that stuff. So I did like a unboxing of that as well, and I figured maybe a couple people would see it, and some of my family and friends that couldn't see me in person would be able to see it, and I could maybe able to contact and like to see people through there. And for a while, it just became the thing. I'd come in, I'd like get some movies, and I'd do like basically show what I got, do an overview, and then I started talking about things, and people started to comment in my comment section down below, and I slowly began to like to meet people through here. And it became a really great community because I just moved to a new area. I was going to basically a new part of my life was just starting, and I was a little bit nerve-wracking. So I went on there, and I found people that were like-minded like me, and liked a lot of the same movies that I did. It was fantastic, and it went from there. I had a very, very, very small subscriber base for quite a while actually, and just some very nice people that I'd speak to, and I got in a couple of like a group videos, and one of I got to thank guys like Absolute Sublime who put me into their like what movie scared you Halloween video and stuff like that, and some of the live stream videos that I did with guys like Movie Cave Dave, 4K Cinema HD, Logan Toxic, talking to guys like that, and who were at the time were like basically kind of like starting like I was, and they definitely helped like my channel grow. Like people found me through there as well. I think that Moods from if you go to podcasts, so there's a couple podcasts too that I can recommend to you. Like Logan Toxic does one called which is kind of like the film school, the Drunken Film School podcast that he does. Definitely check out his podcast. Give him a rating. Logan's a really great guy. He works with Nathan. Nathan's also a really great guy and a talented cartoonist, by the way. Now, check out the podcast, and there's the Shadow Moods podcast as well. That's a long one, but definitely worth checking out. Moods actually I found through basically I did this unboxing of I think it was a Blue Underground set, the 50 Shades of Desaad type of thing, with like these Franco movies. So I got to talk to Moods like over there over the comment section. Thanks to that, and you start to meet like different people on here, and it's great. So that's how I actually got into this. How I became like the movie prof, I guess. So one of the things that I got asked recently is what makes a channel work, and I don't know if there's any like magic like formulas to that. Basically, the only thing that I can say is that if you're passionate about something, if you're passionate about about like movies, video games, like books, comics, action figures, whatever it is, that passion will show through. And I'm not on here like doing this for a living. This is basically something I do because I want to like connect with like-minded people that like some stuff that I like, and hopefully broaden the viewing range of some people, and at the same time have my viewing range be broadened by a lot of the comments and that people make in my comment section down below. So that's kind of how that came about. So just be passionate about what you're talking about. Some people come on and you can tell when somebody really likes something, when somebody's trying to make a channel, and I guess each one has its own like positive and negative. But for me, as a viewer, I want to listen and watch people who really like what they're doing. They're not doing it for like just for the money or that. They're just doing it because they really like to do it. Now, there's nothing wrong with like monetized videos. My videos I get of small like smaller viewership, like as compared to like as compared to PewDiePie, I've got like a minute viewership. As compared to like a lot of people, a lot of the bigger ones, it gets an average viewership, maybe 100, 200, that type of thing. Sometimes when I'll do a review, some of them don't get as high as views as some of the other ones. I get kind of disappointed. But you got to learn. First thing you got to learn, you're putting yourself out there on camera for many, many people to see. So try not to take anything, all this the criticisms that come to heart, because there are going to be people that just like to troll. And don't let that bother you. Don't let, I've gone past the part where I let thumbs up and thumbs down bother me. Either one means that somebody's watched my video and I've elicited enough of a reaction from them that they had to do something. They had to make some sort of reaction. They had to either thumbs up or thumbs down. So even when you thumbs up my video, I got you, because you had to do something. You had to actually thumbs it up or thumbs it down. You had to. You could have left the video and not finished watching it, but you had to you had to do a thumbs up or thumbs down. You had to give some sort of reaction. So at that point, I know that I've come through a bit. So when you're starting a channel, think about it like that. Anything like thumbs up, thumbs downs, any like negative comments. Negative comments, if you get kind of like the really harsh type of comments, the ones that there's some that you can talk to people and you can see like the point that they make, and it's different. But there's sometimes going to be just what we call troll comments, where nothing is really like as nice as being said, where somebody's just being mean to be mean. I just recommend don't responding to those comments, delete them, and go on from there. It's not a big deal. When you go on here, you're putting yourself out there for people to see you and people to talk to you. You can always disable comments and thumbs up, thumbs down if it really bothers you. But either way, have fun with it and enjoy what you're doing. The cats. I have 4 cats. Their names are Scaredy, who's over there in the chair, my other chair. There's Smokey, who's the girl cat, and there is Hubert, and there's Bruno. And Bruno is sometimes called Zoolander because he's got a very expressive face, very expressive eyes. If you're on my Instagram, you've probably seen a couple pictures of him, along with pictures of Scaredy, and not a lot with Hubert. Hubert, you got to get Hubert in the right place, and definitely some of Smokey as well. All my cats are rescues. I did have another cat as well, Whitey, who unfortunately he passed away last year. It was a really hard time, and I thought a lot of that cat, and it made me. It was rough for everybody in my family. He was spirited, and unfortunately he deteriorated fairly fast, and it was a hard situation. So right now we have 4. Like I said before, they were all rescues. They were the 4 brothers that originally there's 4 brothers, and they were rescued by my better half. Years ago, they were supposed to be like a temporary rescue, and originally she only took 2, but at the pretty much literally at the 11th hour, they came with 2 other cats because the person that was going to take them could no longer take them. So she took in all 4 of the cats, and she fell in love with them years later. So basically, she ended up keeping the cats, and later on, Smokey came about. My mom was moving out of her apartment into another apartment which couldn't have a cat, and she didn't know what to do with it. So basically, we took in Smokey as well. She hasn't exactly assimilated well with the other cats, but she loves she loves the kids. She loves him. She's getting used to me, but she's a fun cat. They're all really great cats. I'm an animal guy. I've always been an animal guy. We had a Siamese cat for 22 years named Sasha, and I did have some dogs back when I was younger too. I actually had a Newfoundland dog called by the name of Princess, who used to escape from his chain. He broke so many chains to meet me at a school back when I was in elementary school. So I've always been an animal guy, and I think that you can tell a lot about a person by whether animals like them, whether they like animals. I've often been suspect of people that really don't like animals. It kind of I know some people have their reasons, but how can you not like these little fur babies type Anyway, yeah, 4 cats. Now looking over there, you can see my other shelf. You can see like there's a lot of like you won't be able to see all of them there. You see like some Criterions. You can see some Arrow, a bunch of like Scream Factory. My Kino portion has gotten much larger this year, and a lot of other titles like the Complete Secret Agent Man is there as well. My Eurekas, and like my BFIs, my networks, my Fox Film Noirs. So there's a lot of different stuff over there. Eventually, I'm going to go through all of it with you guys, and that way you guys can let me know what it is that that you like and that you want me to talk about. So there's just a little quick look at my at one of my shelves there, and anyway, there it is. So how and when did I get into movies? Basically, that's been a lifelong obsession of mine. My dad was into movies as well, and he was basic, and he it kind of stuck. Even though I didn't get to know my parents, especially my dad, well when I was younger, because basically I'm a child of divorce, like many people from my generation were. I was raised by my grandparents. They're older, so there's a bit of a disconnect there, but they were fantastic, wonderful people. My grandfather has passed away. He was a carpenter here he was a carpenter in Newfoundland, and was really well known for the stuff that he did. He made hospitals, like designed and planned hospitals, as well as like visitor centers. I was always really proud of my pop for what he was able to accomplish, and the mark that he made. Like, he's passed on now, but you can still see the buildings and stuff that he's done. And just he was a great man, and he made like a tremendous difference in my life, and a mark on like society in a good way. And I think that's part of the reason that that family has always been so important to me. My kids, like my family, my extended family, my friends. I'm very big on the fact that family's huge. That's I miss my pop. My dad, I got to know a lot better later on in life, and I'm glad I did, because he's a really nice guy. He's really into his movies, and he loves Hammer. He knows a lot more about like Hammer films than I would even pretend to know. He's really into like the Paul Naschy movies he grew up with. He was like he was a famous Monsters of Filmland kid, so he had a lot of those. I remember seeing them when I was just going to his place when I was like really young. I'd see them like on the counter and stuff like that, and I was like enamored with them. And that's a lot of the reason that I got into a lot of the films that I did, is that sometimes like I'd move around a bit, and like the one constant that I had were comic books and movies. Those were the things that would be like would be there all the time. And I used to watch this Saturday morning, the Saturday afternoon show, one of those like creature feature type of shows. And back when I was in like in Newfoundland, I used to wait like for CBC late night, and I'd watch a lot of these like Universal monster movies. They'd have weeks where, especially around Halloween, where they'd have like a whole week or two of the Universal monster films. And I remember that certain ones like Son of Dracula made a really big impression on me, because of it was so far ahead of its time, and it was so cool to see that type of effects in that early of a film. The way that the bat was done, just there was so much that I loved about that. And I get asked questions a lot of like, what's my favorite cinematic universe? And there's like the Marvel and the DC and all that. Neither of those actually. The Universal Monster Universe, the original Universal Monster Universe, is my favorite cinematic universe of all time. I love a lot of films and a lot of franchises, and I go watch pretty much anything. But for me, you can't beat the good old Universal Monsters. And my favorites, it's really hard to say. Son of Dracula was fantastic. That meant like the world to me. Of course, Bride of Frankenstein and Son of Frankenstein were actually really, really good. Like The Wolfman. I had a book when I was a kid that Alan Ormsby wrote, actually, who made movies like Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. So he wrote a book on like monsters, and he showed how to do makeup, and like how to make yourself up to look like the Bride of Frankenstein or the Wolfman or Dracula. Actually, early on in school, one of the very first times that I spoke in front of a group of people, I was actually doing a little speech, because everybody had to do a speech, and I was kind of nervous at the time. You wouldn't believe that now, but it was true. I've talked before about the fact that I had bad, like, I was a bad stutter. So I talked about like the makeup, like Jack Pierce's makeup, and I also spoke about like the Frederick March Jekyll and Hyde change, and how like the filters and the camera used. That was one of the very first. I was a big movie geek from way back, so I watched a lot of movies, I guess. And the Universal Monsters ones are ones that I go to a lot. I'll watch them over and over again. I never get tired of those movies. So animation, a lot of you guys have noticed that I have a lot of animation. If you saw a minute ago, I probably should have answered this question when I was back over there, because I do collect a lot of animated shows and anime. Now I grew up in the 80s, and of course, well, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. I was a kid in the 70s, and I became a teenager in the 80s. So in not in the early 80s, in the mid 80s. But basically, Saturday morning cartoons meant something. You had to, like, you didn't have like these Saturday morning, these shows you watch all the time. You had like Saturday morning shows, and you watch them, and you have the after school like cartoons, and like usually some like around here, like silent films, like Charlie Chaplin, stuff like that would show. And then later on, Robotech would show. And as my sister got older, then Gem, showed there as well. When it came to anime, like stuff like that, I'm not like lucky enough to have like grown up, like be born like maybe like 10 years later, where all of a sudden like Fox Kids had all this anime, like Sailor Moon and all that stuff on it. Basically, when I started getting in anime, like really getting into it, I saw Robotech when I was in high school, but for the other stuff I was in college, and there was no English. So I had a friend, and we would import a lot of these Japanese like anime films and shows, and there'd be no English. And I don't mean no English dubbing. I mean no English subtitles, no nothing. We had Dirty Pair was one of our favorites, and I remember they did like I think Adam Warren did like a comic book of Dirty Pair as well, and I really liked those characters. They just were really fun, and of course, the first time I saw Akira, there was no English subtitles or no dubbing or anything on that as well. Imagine like watching that movie for the first time and not being able to understand the words. It was, but it looked so gorgeous, and we just really got into it. There was no like internet to like look up these things at the time either, so you had to look for like magazines and just like articles, and get like books out of the library and stuff, and try and like figure out like the storylines of some of the stuff. So that was like a really important thing that came about, that we had to do. And we did it. We actually went out and found like books and on different animes, and we ordered books from like different countries, and went through and kind of made up our own. Kind of got like the gist of the story, and found like the story, and we wouldn't know all the words. And some words we'd hear over and over again, and they would become more similar. We'd kind of figure certain words out if we'd look for the curse words, because we're in college. And my better half, she grew up on anime. She's younger than I am. She's about 7 years younger than me, and she grew up. She was born in Morocco, and they had a show over there where a lot of the programs that they showed, a lot of the cartoons that they showed, I think it was called Club Dorothy, had a lot of anime there. So there's a lot of like different like cool older anime and Sentai type shows, like like the Power Rangers type shows, but of course the originals, not the stuff over there. So we got over here. Later on, I got to see like stuff like Sailor Moon, and I'd seen like some uncut episodes of it originally. So when I actually got to see Sailor Moon, I was kind of confused by a couple of the characters, because they were a different sex than I'd seen. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you're going to see that I recently just grabbed like the first like 2 seasons and a half of Sailor Moon, the uncut one. So it'd be nice to go back and rewatch them again. Ranma Half was always been a favorite of mine. I like the humor in that. If you want to know some like the newer type of shows, I don't own it yet. Oh, I really want to, but JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, I really enjoy. Love like the musical references in that, and of course his last ditch plan every time is Runaway, which is hilarious. And if you never saw JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, I really recommend it. It's a really good anime. So yeah, I do watch a lot of animation, and yes, I have completed my Super Friends collection and my Looney Tunes collection, except for a couple of Superstar ones. I have one more Thundercats to get from my better half. I've got all the Dragon Ball Zs and Dragon Ball GT, but I've only got one season of Dragon Ball, so I got to get that as well. And yes, I know that a lot of the Dragon Ball have fights that last episodes, but the quality is it's over 9,000. So I get asked a lot about my favorite my favorite shows. So wrote over there, Doctor Who. That's my favorite series of all time, and it actually affected the way that I went when it came time for college. I was accepted to two places, Western Ontario, and I was accepted to here in Newfoundland to do journalism. I really wanted to have a role on Doctor Who, and it got canceled the very year that I graduated from school. And at the time, I saw that as a sign that I was going to go towards the journalism route, and I didn't do acting. But I never lost my love for Doctor Who. I'm very excited about the Christmas special. I'm excited to see Peter Capaldi's last episode and see David Bradley doing the role of the First Doctor. I'm really excited to see the new Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, and I think she's a great actress. I think she can do a great job in the role of the Doctor. I just hope that the people working behind the scenes, I like Chibnall's stuff with Broadchurch, and that I just hope that it's not going to be that she's not going to get like hampered by some of the writing behind the scenes. So hopefully they're going to do some good stuff with that. I'm not really happy about the fact that they're cutting down the amount of episodes that they're doing per year. They're going to be shooting it later in the year. That makes me a little bit nervous. But I have every confidence that if anyone can pull it off and do this role and be the first female to play the Doctor, that I really think Jodie Whittaker can do that. I think she'll do a great job. So what got me into collecting this hardcore? I collected movies like off and on throughout the years, and I moved a lot. So there were times that like I had movies that were like lifted from me. There were times that I had to sell out some stuff to move. And finally, I said I was going to take it seriously, and again start like to not just enjoy the films, but kind of make a movie library, much in the way that I'd see like video stores. And I wanted to make the video store that I always wanted to go into, and that's what happened when it came to my to the films that I chose. The first company that I ever collected, I guess to really start collecting. The first ones that I noticed were pre-Scream Factory, was probably Shout Factory when they started to do the Roger Corman classics. I picked up Prana for my better half. She's a huge fan of that film. She loves Prana 2 even better, so she's real disappointed that they had to cancel or at least delay the Prana 2 release that they're going to do. When Scream Factory came about, I'd heard about it, and I was there in the store. I think it was Best Buy, and I bought them on the very first day that they came out, both Halloween 2 and 3. Cat's just going through here. And I went from there. So I ended up buying a lot of their releases. I know a lot of people started with They Live and started collecting from there. But for me, it was right from the beginning. Halloween 2 and 3 were two films that I really, really enjoyed, and I was really excited to get them. So I got I got obsessive with my from over there. I got obsessive with my collection of Scream Factories, and I started to collect them. I was reading a Horror Hound magazine, which is one of those magazines that I read. I read a lot of horror magazines, and I can get them when I can. So they had an article on Arrow, and they showed these beautiful covers, and they showed this poster, and I couldn't believe that such work had gone into into these films. So I went into Amazon UK, and I realized that a lot of them were less expensive than some of the stuff that I was getting over here in North America. And there was a lot of releases that I couldn't get. Like Savage Streets was something that I couldn't get over here. Slaughter High, I couldn't get a good edition of that over here as well. And and Arrow Video had both of these films in really, really great editions. So I ended up buying those. I remember there's an Aerodrome 3-pack, which I showed recently on here actually, of the of Fulci's basically City of it was City of Living Dead, The Beyond, the Gates of Hell trilogy, and of course Bud Cemetery. So I was really looking forward to getting that, and I was a big Russ Meyer fan, so I liked that early exploitation stuff. And I just thought Russ Meyer actually was beyond. Like I agree with Ebert that Russ Meyer was way beyond like what people thought he was, and he did like such a good job of the movies that he did. That one of the first things I bought was this Russ Meyer set, and I'm really glad I did because it went out of print shortly after that, and it's something that's a little bit more expensive to get now. From Arrow, then I started to find other places. I'm a big Jello fan. That's how I came about Shameless, and my better half basically she helps feed my addiction because basically she chose one year for for my birthday to theme my birthday with Shameless titles, and that's what I got. I got like a bunch of Shameless stuff, like some really cool stuff there. They're the ones with the yellow cases, which I really like. I'm a big fan of Shameless, and I started to get some Kino stuff this year. I really got into the Kino, and I really upgraded my Kino library. Criterions, I actually started collecting them by accident. I picked up the what's it called, the Titanic movie that they put out. And for the life of me, for right now it's by Hammer Director, but I can't remember the name of it right now. But which is crazy because it was one of my favorite films. Definitely my favorite Titanic film. I was never a fan of the James Cameron one. That was just way too long and overbloated for me. I know there's a lot of people that love it, but I'm not one of those people. I got it for like $5, I think, with the 3D edition. I don't know if I'll ever actually watch it, but it's something I got in my collection. If somebody comes and they want to see it or something like that, or who knows, maybe down the road it would go to print and be like trade bait, something like that. But yeah, I don't think I really get rid of a lot of my stuff. I've had some doubles of things that I've got for like decent prices. I'm actually a lot of times I don't do like a lot of trading often, but just because really I haven't had the chance. I know that a couple people I did to trade some stuff with, and I got some really cool stuff, and that's kind of fun. In the future, maybe I'll do something like that again, because I do have a couple things here. I've got the old Battle Royale Blu-ray set, the one that Arrow put out, with all the discs and the comic and all that. I got two of those. So yeah, one of these days I got to figure out if I'm gonna like put that on an eBay store or just like trade it with somebody. But one of the many things I got. Anyway, so yeah, I collect a lot of different titles. I like to have more Blue Underground and more Synapse, more Severin. I find Synapse has gotten overly expensive with the steelbook releases. I know they put a lot of work into this stuff, but like $52 for a steelbook American, I can't do that. I definitely can't do that. And then there's like the conversion rate, and then there's the shipping and handling. I had great friends. If I didn't have some great friends on here, Tenebrae is my favorite Argento film of all time, and it's thanks to a great friend of mine that I managed to have Tenebrae in my collection, because I wouldn't if it wasn't for if I definitely wouldn't if it wasn't for him. And it was a birthday present, and I didn't expect it, and it was when my better half was gone away on a business trip, so I actually was really lonely at that time, and the present came in, and I got to sit down. I watched it, went through all the special features. I watched the documentary on Giallos twice, actually, Yellow Fever. If you don't have it, I do recommend it, because now it's in a less expensive anyway, like regular edition, which has all the same features and doesn't have the steelbook, but doesn't have steelbook with it. And I'm gonna break movie Dave's heart here, but I got to be honest. Of all the things that I collect, all the different like types I collect, I think my least favorite is our steelbooks. I like the idea of being able to have like steelbooks, and digibooks are okay too, I guess, but they're about on the same thing. I like the idea of like reversible artwork and and booklets and other goodies and stuff like that. So I find that steelbooks, you get what you get, and they can be nice and stuff like that. But I'm not a big collector of them. I recently got asked the question, "What season is this?" And I hadn't really thought about that before, but I know that like a lot of the YouTube channels on here have broken their stuff up into seasons. I've got like over 1,000 videos on here, so that makes it a little bit harder. A lot of my early stuff was a lot like trial and error. I don't know if you guys are aware, but even like did like beer reviews and stuff like that as well. So a lot of different stuff. You can see my Shameless there in the background. Let's see the yellow ones. That's Shameless. So I guess my early Newfoundland stuff is kind of like, think of it like an MST3K, like the pre-season type of thing. And look at my stuff over, I guess, last year, like in the last 2 years of Newfoundland has been like kind of like a season 1, season 2 type of thing. So here in Cape Breton right now, because I moved to Cape Breton about 6 months ago. I'm no longer in Newfoundland. I get asked a lot about my Newfoundland roots and stuff like that. So think of that like the year as season 3. We'll say that like in January Criterion. WTF was season 2. Everything else is like it's season 1 and pre-season pre-KTMA days type of thing, and the Criterion's and collectors, Criterions and Classics is going to be year 3, basically season 3. So take it like that. I get asked a lot about my Newfoundland heritage. I'm a big fan of the guys like Jayhawk23, the guys that do the Outhouse shows, and they asked me if that's like, is that the way Newfoundlanders are that we talk? Well, it is in a way. Newfoundland, like a lot of places, it's like there's certain areas of Newfoundland that are more there are communities that are smaller communities, and like they've been like primarily founded by usually could be like more of a French settlement or an Irish settlement or an English settlement, and a lot of those, like the people grew up and like their kids grew up and their kids grew up and all that in these areas, and they stayed in these areas for like long periods of time. So I find that like a lot of these, especially these communities that like stayed and didn't relocate like some of them did, you're going to find that you're going to get like a closer to what the older type of accent was for us, for some of those, like some of the places they came from, some of the countries that they came from, because they've kept it. You get a lot of different types of accents. I hear things like, is there all snow? Well, no, we're not like it's not a vast like Arctic wasteland. It doesn't work that way. Now, when I lived down the coast, which I call it was basically on the northern peninsula, we got a lot more snow than we did when I lived up in places like St. John's, whose weather more resembles over in England, like the foggier type weather, like less snow, a lot more precipitation, fog and rain, that type of thing. And so Jayhawk23 does this outhouse thing, and basically they talk about like skeets. And if you're not sure what skeets are, then I guess in a way you might want to call them like Newfoundland's like criminal element, or they're that don't really know skeets, that don't know this. Just watch the videos. They're really funny, and there are people, and I have met people that are like that a lot. And I get asked sometimes, how come I don't have that accent? There's a lot of different accents within like Newfoundland, and I think that if you listen to me talk long enough, you're definitely going to hear some of that Newfoundland accent come out. But the thing is, I lived through different parts of Canada all my life, and it's kind of like jumbled up my accent into like this Newfoundland, Ontario, Alberta type of mix type of thing. But I think like overall, I can hear my Newfoundland accent. I can't fake it the way some people can do a great job of like doing my better half can definitely fake the Newfoundland accent better than I can, and I'm from Newfoundland. But yeah, it's all that, the eyes the buys thing, and like just they say this sick thing that they do, like the sick, and it's really cool. I find these guys really funny. They're really talented with what they do, and hopefully people don't take them too much to heart. Especially, hopefully, other Newfoundlanders don't. Newfoundland is kind of a place that where it's been an island, and it's kind of shut off a bit. We were known for like a while for being like we're known for being hard tickets, like a lot of drinking, and like a lot of fighting, and a lot of girls. That's basically that was the Newfoundlander stereotype. But the thing is, well, there's different types of people everywhere, and being in an island, that can definitely make you more island proud. Sometimes I wasn't when I was a kid though, because I was just like every kid. We're basically, I didn't want to say no. Okay, well, I'm from Newfoundland. I was kind of like, oh, I had my days like back then when I said, no, I'm not going to be like from Newfoundland. My accent's going to be totally different. I'm better than that, man. I'm better than that, which I wasn't. And when I became a much smarter adult, I started to realize exactly like how important culture is to you. I'm a native Canadian, so there's a lot of like native blood within me. I call myself the whitest native in the world, but I am, and I'm proud of my heritage. I don't really talk about like that stuff a lot. I don't, but yeah, I love Newfoundland. I'm here in Cape Breton now. I'm loving it here. Getting used to it. Cape Breton's very Newfoundland-like. It's very close to Newfoundland. The thing is that you can drive and go to other provinces and stuff, which is really cool because you can only drive so far in Newfoundland, and you're in the water because it's an island. Will I ever do a patron type of thing? Am I gonna do I want would I like to have done this for like a living? That I don't think it's a reasonable assumption like that I could like float my channel for a living. A patron type of deal. I've thought about that, and maybe down the road I monetize some of my videos, and that's not really like with the amount of like the viewership and like that I have. It's not going to be something that's sustainable. You're looking at like, for me, you're looking at $100 to $200 like a year, and so obviously this is not my first job. The work that I do outside of here is my work. When I talk about it on this here, I try to keep things out of like my channel. Like I try not to talk about like politics and religion too much, or any stuff like that. My channel is about movies and video games. Sometimes comics, books, that type of thing. Just collecting. I want this to be a place where you can get away from all that and just have fun. So that's why you don't see me like on here ranting so much about like certain things. I'm not a Phil DeFranco type guy. I'm not an alternate media source for you for your for your news. Go CNN or somewhere like that. That's for that type of stuff. I'm not the I'm not the guy for that. I just want to have fun and talk to people on here. Yeah, I thought about a patron type of thing, and I still am, because I'd like to be able to put out more videos, like put out videos more consistently. Next year, I want to work on doing some visual essays as well, where I can actually like script some stuff, and you probably won't be seeing my face, but you'll be seeing like some pictures, and I'll be talking about like certain movies and genres. That's one thing that I'm looking forward to, that hopefully you guys will look forward to as well. I want to like really kind of branch out and make better videos. The iPhone that I got for Christmas, that my brother came yearly. Basically, one thing's gonna be doing with that is I can now do out and about videos, and I'm actually really excited about out and abouts. I enjoy like watching them, and I get frustrated. I'll watch like some people, and they'll be going past something, and I'll see them like going to pick up something, and they don't pick it up. And I'm like, you got to pick that up. That's really good. I watched a lot of Cinema Sickness stuff, and he's really a nice guy, but he's got a more mainstream like type of stuff that he likes than me. So he'll be going through certain things, and I'll be like, come on, pick that up. I'm going to cry if you don't pick that up. And sometimes I just have to stop watching for a couple of days because I'm like, oh man, why didn't you get that? And he's like, no, like well, maybe he's already got it, or sometimes like, no, that's not my type, and I'm like, oh man. But everybody has different tastes, so that's the one thing you got to get used to. It is like, it really is something like when you're watching these videos and you're seeing people like, you're watching gaming videos, you're watching like out and about, so you're watching like the flea market videos or any of that type of stuff. Then you're going to see stuff and you're like, oh my God, I wish I was there. I wish I could pick this up. I would spend so much money. And so you're going to see me trying not to spend so much money. And hopefully I can do some of these out and abouts, and you guys can yell at the screen at me saying like, oh, you should have picked this up. Come on, why didn't you grab that? And you can tell me and get frustrated with me, much in the same way I get frustrated when I'm watching some of these game hunting videos or flea market videos, stuff like that. So hopefully you get frustrated with me in a good way and teach me some stuff that I don't know that I need to know. That's one of the good things about here, is that it's a great community. So I hope you guys learned a bit about me tonight. I've definitely wanted to do a few different videos, like to talk to you guys. I've wanted to make this video for a long time, and I just haven't really found the time or the place to really do it. And I really enjoy do you guys enjoy me making videos down here in the movie library? I do. I like making videos down here. Uh, as you can see, I'm talking about movies now, so the white, gamer cap is off for right now. So it's not to me, Mario. It's me, the movie prof. But I'll come on here sometime and talk to you guys about my collectibles as well. I got a bunch of collectibles that I can that I can show you guys from my Friday the 13th stuff. Got my Friday 13th NECA figure from the video game. I've got which my oldest got me, and I also have the mask, the glow in the dark hockey mask as well. So there you go, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys stayed throughout the entire video. Feel free, please, actually, if you like this video, let me know. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button. If you want more like this, or if there's questions that you have that I haven't answered in this video, please feel free to mention them in the comment section down below. I'll do a future video where I will answer more questions for people, and I'll definitely do some shout out videos down the road as well. So enjoy yourself, have a great evening. Again, Drunken Film School's podcast, and let me see if I can actually. It's not on this one, but Logan Toxic. Go to Logan Toxic's channel. He's got a podcast. Find out about it. Go check it out. It's on. It should be on Apple. And 22 Shots of Moods. Also, they got another podcast that's also on Apple. Check them out as well. As far as the bigger podcasts go, Shockwaves is a really good one. That has oh God, Rob Galuzza, Eldrick Kane, and Rebecca McHenry. As the three main ones that started out as Killer POV and went on to be Shockwaves. It's a great podcast. It's on Bloomhouse, plus it's on Apple as well. There's also Screamcast, which is another good one. They started out working with exclusively Scream Factory stuff. Something happened along the way, and they stopped working exclusively with Scream Factory. But it's interesting. It's a very interesting podcast. I think I can't remember. I know BJ's in it, and she's really good. She has she likes a lot of the kind of alternative horror that I like as well. So she really gets into that. So she can talk when they do Vinegar Syndrome episodes. She'll be the one that'll actually get there, and she'll talk about the adult horror and stuff like that. And by adult horror, I do mean adult as in the X-rated horror, because I think that every type of film has a place. Whether you're watching genre stuff or classic cinema or film noir or adult cinema. Dramas, comedies, whatever, everything deserves to be studied and revered in the same way. So yeah, when I look at an Ed Wood movie or Doris Wishman or something by Herschel Gordon Lewis, I'll look at that. I'm going to look at and study that the same way that I'm going to study an Orson Welles or Charles Laughton or a John Ford or anything like that. I know it seems kind of crazy, but I really do like to make sure that films get the proper respect that they deserve, and you can't learn about films and making films just by studying one type. Not in my opinion. You have to really delve into there, and you've got to know you got to know your stuff, your dramas, your action, your comedies. There's going to be stuff you're more interested in others. Your exploitation films. Know the roots of the cinema that you're getting into. And if you don't want to get into it too much, watch some videos, and I'll get into it for you. Thanks for watching, guys. For me right now, it is time for tea, and have a great evening.